could get this audio fixed, because I'm hearing some clipping or something. But if you're out there, just say hi. Yeah, I'm getting some weird sounds in here. It's like a pulse. There you go. It's gone. Anyway, so if you're new to the piano, which I hope you are, and I hope that you're interested in learning, I'm gonna have to change the title of this video later on, because you probably don't know that I was gonna do this. But here on the piano, you have obviously you have white keys, and then you have black keys. These black keys are going to help you navigate your way around the piano. I'm going to show you how real quickly. We're going to learn 3 chords today. A chord is a group of notes, 3 or more notes. So I want you to look around the middle of the piano. Well, first of all, notice that there are 3 groups of 3 black keys and groups of 2. These are going to help you out later on. Now I want you to go toward the middle of the piano, the group of 2 black keys. And to the left of the group of 2 is a white key. This is called middle C. This is going to be a very important landmark on the piano. Now there are 7 letter notes on the piano, A through Z. A through G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The letters on the piano or in music just keep repeating infinitely. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C. But right now we're just going to have to worry about a couple of them. So now that we know where middle C is, I want to teach you something about your hands before we start playing. Your fingers have a number assigned to them, and it's going to be the same number for each finger. For example, the thumbs are number 1, index finger is number 2, middle finger is 3, ring finger is 4, and your pinkies are number 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this is not going to be very important if you're just playing chords, if you're playing by ear, but it is going to be very important if you ever decide to learn how to read music. But I will occasionally use finger numbers. For example, we're going to start by putting finger number 1 on our right hand on middle C. Finger number 3 is going to go 2 notes up above that to E. E is going to be on the right side of the second black key in the group of 2 black keys. C, E, and then finger number 5, which is your pinky, which is 2 notes away from E, is going to hit the letter G. If you notice, this is an alphabetical order. So if we start on C, C, D, E, F, and G. But the chord that we're going to play today is called a C major chord, and that chord is going to only consist of C, E, and G. When you play a chord, you're going to hit all the notes at the same time. Now, it's not going to be broken up like this, because that's not a chord. And try not to roll it either. We can do that later, but for now we're just going to try to hit them at the same time. A word of caution, when you're playing, you want to make sure that your fingers are not flat like this. You want to make sure that your hands are curved, because when you curve your hands, it's hard to get the orientation right. When you curve your hands, your fingertips will be the same length. However, when you have your hands flat, some of your fingers are longer than the others, and they're not going to hit the keys at the same time. So curve your hands. Finger 1 on C, finger 3 on E, and finger 5 on G. Now this is called a major chord. Major chords typically give off a happy sound as opposed to a minor chord, which normally evokes a sad feeling. But right now we're going to stick to the majors. So if you notice in the C major chord, all the notes are white. We're going to stick to the white notes for these next two chords that we're going to learn. So if you keep your hand in this position and you move everything up 3 notes, you're going to end up on F. Your thumb is going to end up on F. So C, D, E, F. And then your third finger is going to play the note that it lands on, which is A. And then your fifth finger, your pinky, is going to land on the high C. And then there you have an F major chord. Now, if you got lost, let me orient you. So here's middle C. Remember the musical alphabet only goes up to the letter G. By the way, if you can hear me, I was having a lot of sound issues. Can you let me know in the comments whether you can hear the piano? All right, back to it. We have C, E, and G making C major. So C, D, E, F. We're going to start our chord right there. Finger 1, finger 3, and finger 5. That is an F major chord. Now the next chord we're going to learn is G major, and all we have to do is move our fingers 1 key to the right. So every finger is going to go to the right like this. It's like a parallel shift. So that's G major. Let's go back to F major. And then jump back down to C major. Now this exercise I want us to do is to play C major chord 4 times like this. And then jump to F major. And G major. F major. And then C major. One more time. Thank you for letting me know the sound is clear. This should be very easy for you because you're not having to switch your finger or your hand shape around. It's sort of locked in place. Then now I want us to do it again, but this time we're going to do 2 in a row. So ready and go. And on C. So I think my thought was interrupted earlier. I was showing you where F was based on where C was, middle C. We have C, D, E, F, G. In the musical alphabet, G is the highest note. At least it is here in the United States. I think in some other country they have H. I could be wrong. But we're just going to do A through G. C, D, E, F, G. After G, we go back to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And it keeps going on for as long as high or as low as your instrument can go. Now, of course, music, if we only played chords this way, it would sound very boring. I'm going to adjust my camera real fast. I think it's kind of shifting. Oh, this is weird. There you go. Hopefully it doesn't move anymore. Okay, back to it. Now, if music was just made up of these chords, of course it would sound very weird. I mean, very boring. So we have there's something in music called inversions, chord inversions. So C, E, and G make up a C major chord, as said earlier. However, this order of notes C, E, G isn't the only order that makes up a C major. This is called a root position C. Root position means that the chord, the letter is at the bottom of the chord. C, E, G, C major. That means that C major in root position means that C is at the bottom. However, if we change the order, for example, putting C at the top, we still have a C major chord. Now the change is very different. The shape, I should say, is very different. But if you notice, it sounds a lot wider and a little bit more pleasing to me, at least. Now there's two reasons that we play inversions. One of them is so that the sound could sound more spread out. And the other reason is so that it could be easier to move to another chord. I should also add that the third reason is because inversions oftentimes move the listener or to expect another chord. For example, C major often will move to F major, but these are pretty far apart. So what composers do is that maybe they'll have a song in C major, and then they'll change to first inversion, which means that the third of the chord is on the bottom, E being the third. And that pushes us, since it's so close to the F, that E is close to the F, it pushes our ear or makes our ear expect that F major. Now if we add that note in the bass, you're going to hear it even more. So I'm going to do the first example. I'm playing C in the bass, and then a C major chord on my right hand. And then I'm going to play F major. Now that sounds fine, but watch what happens when I put the third of the C major chord. And by third, I mean, I'm talking about something called intervals. And I know I'm throwing a lot of terms out, but I'm going to mention them every time we in these live streams. So C is the root, E is the third, and G is the fifth of the chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First, or the root, third, and fifth. Watch what happens when I play the third of the C major chord in the left hand. Now it wants to go somewhere else. Was that satisfying? So I'm going to play C major in first inversion, but with the C in the bass, so it's still in root position. Now I'm going to put the third in the bass, which makes the listener expect the F major. Then G major. Back to C. The other reason I gave was that it spreads the sound up. Oftentimes, it might sound like there's too many frequencies being played, or that, to put a better way, sometimes when you play the notes close to each other, you have a band of frequencies that are dominating your ear, and you kind of get tired of that sound. But when you spread it out, At least to me, it sounds a lot more pleasant. So I want to go over the different inversions. So we learned C major in root position is C, E, G. Now I want you to focus on the shape of your hand when you play this chord, because that's going to be an important thing when you're playing piano, is the shape of your hand. If you practice that, keep your hand in the same position, it's going to get easier and easier to jump from chord to chord. So now we have C major in first inversion. That means it starts on the E, G, and C. E, G, C. Now it doesn't matter what order the top two are in. As long as that E is on the bottom, it's in first inversion. For example, if I'm playing the E with my left hand, I play the C like this, I still have a C major chord in first inversion. It sounds pretty, actually. But for now, let's stick to the notes that are close to each other. E, second finger on G, because if you put your third finger on G, it feels kind of awkward. It might feel kind of awkward, and putting your pinky on C. I like to put my second finger on G. It just sits nicely like that, with a U shape in your thumb and index finger. Now let's go to F major in root position. When we play F major in first inversion, that means that our first finger is going to be on the A, because F major is F, A, C. F, A, C. So your first finger is going to be on A. Now your second finger is going to be on C now. And then your pinky or your fifth finger is going to be on F. Now F is the white key before the group of three black keys. So look for the three black keys and F is right there. A good practice is to, when you learn a note, for example C, good practice is to find all the C's on the piano. Same with the F and G. So F major in first inversion is A, C, F. And if you play the C major in first inversion, I want you to notice that the shape is the exact same thing. Now, when you're playing these chords, you're most likely not going to jump like that. One, it's kind of awkward, and two, it doesn't really sound good. Inversions, the other reason that I gave for their use is that they make it easier to travel from one chord to another. For example, C major in first inversion is very close to F major. You don't really have to move too many fingers. The only fingers you move are these, or the notes that move are these right here. This one stays the same. So your first finger is going to move up, one. Your third finger is going to go down. And then you have that 1, 3, 5 configuration. So C major in first inversion likes to go to F major. Now something is up with this this camera. I apologize. I think it's a little heavy on this end. I'm going to tighten it. Hopefully in later videos I'll work out all these kinks that make this a little awkward. Okay. See how quick that is? And it would be good practice to just jump from this chord to this chord. C major in first inversion to F major in root position. Notice that when this finger is not used when I go to F major in root position. Second finger is not used. And if I'm moving to G major, since none of the tones, none of the letter names or notes are held over in G major. So F, A, C, and G major is G, B, D. So I can just move however I want. Just keep the same hand shape. Now let's do G major in first inversion. So here's G major in root position. G, B, D. And we're going to do the same thing that we did with C major in first inversion and F major in first inversion. We're going to put our first finger on B. B is right before C. I know that sounds elementary, but some people need that. So B, second finger on D, and pinky on G. Pinky or G is going to be between the first and second black notes in the group of 3. Just make sure your pitch matches mine. G major. Now, this note, this chord in this inversion is very close to C major. The tone that they share is G. And just like we went from C major in first inversion to F major in root position, we can move from G major in first inversion to C major in root position. I'll play it lower. So if you start off a song in C major, you can easily go to G major like this without sounding like you made a huge shift. To me, this sounds like there's too much movement. It's really nice when it's subtle like this. Now the last thing that we're going to go over is second inversion. The second inversion means that the fifth of the chord is in the bottom position. So if we have C, E, and G, G would be the fifth of that chord. If you still don't understand what that means, like the third or the fifth, like how is that the third if I'm only playing 3 notes and isn't this the second note that I'm playing? Yes, that's the second note in the chord, but as far as the degree in a scale, for example, C being 1, your second finger would be 2, or D would be 2, E would be 3, F would be 4, and G would be 5. So in that scale, the first, the third, and the fifth make up a major chord. So C major in second inversion is going to start on that G. That means your thumb is going to be on that G. Now, this is completely up to you. I do it different ways depending on the song, but for now, let's do it this way. third finger will go on C, and fifth finger will go on E. This is C major in second inversion. Notice that we share the same tones as C major in root position, C, E, G, but it's just in a different order. G, C, E. C major in second inversion likes to go to, or it's very close to F major in first inversion. This is where it gets a little more complicated. F major is F, A, C. The only one that they have in common right now is C, so that one's going to stay. We have E right here, that's going to move to F. We have G right here, that's going to move to A. Now, look where my fingers are. This is not the position I taught you for F major in first inversion. This is the position with the second finger on C. This is why it's up to you if you want to do a C major in second inversion to play finger 1, finger 2 on C, and finger 4 on E. That actually feels a lot better. So again, finger 1 on G, finger 2 on C, so it's a little wider than you've done so far, and finger 4, the weakest finger out of your hand, which we'll exercise more later on, it's going to go on E. So in F major, first inversion, we have our thumb on A, second finger on C, and then our pinky on F. Practice going back and forth between those. And then from here, we can go to G in root position. Now, see, when you play a second inversion, especially if, let's say the key of the song is in C, and you have that fifth in the bass, which makes it a second inversion, that kind of pulls the note. It pulls it toward G major. Do you hear that? Do you feel that? That it wants to go to that G major? And then it wants to resolve back to its home key. So as I continue making these videos, hopefully you can follow along the whole time. And I want to show you how powerful these inversions are, and we're going to talk about something called voice leading, where you kind of pull the listener's ear. You give them this expectation of where the music is going to go. That was deceptive cadence. Watch how I'm going to ruin your expectation right here. Sorry, I can't end the song right there. That's really mean. This has tension built in it, and it wants to resolve. Friends, thank you for watching. I hope this was educational for you. I hope you learned something and that you can take something positive out of this. Please let me know your thoughts in the description. And I'm going to try to make this weekly. So about this time, 6 o'clock, maybe 5:30. I'll announce it in advance. Right now, I'm trying out different softwares to see which works best. So far, it seems like OBS is working out pretty well, and I didn't have to pay anything for it, so that's good. Well, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.